How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Down podcast, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, we are going to be making our Week 3 picks in Bears versus Falcons, so be sure to tune in till the end. This is our Week 3 pregame show, so be sure to stick around until the end to hear our predictions. I am your host, Chris Malpe, and today I am joined with both of my co-hosts, all of which who have new microphones. Jalen McClinton and Parth. Guys, how does it feel to finally have some sort of professional setup? And otherwise, how is it going?
It looks dope. I love it. I'm excited to use it. I think it's going to be a great way to start off our podcast. I mean, we've been recording for almost 2.5 years now. We started recording with our iPads or phones, and now we got our computers, we got microphones, no more earbuds or AirPods. So the quality has definitely improved, and it's all thanks to you guys. So thank you guys for the support, and we'll keep improving our quality and bring out more content for you guys.
Yeah, well, exactly what Parth said. We definitely came a long way. It's still kind of shocking to see that we actually have studio quality microphones, but it's something I have to get used to. But I'm definitely appreciate everything that people who support us and stuff like that. So let's talk some Bears football.
Let's do it. We've got to jump right into it, and I will say it's definitely something new to get used to, but comment down below if you guys do enjoy the new audio. If you are on YouTube listening to this, let's try and hit 50 likes. If you do want Bears content every day of the week, do us a favor, whatever platform you are on, subscribe. We're getting very close to 3,000 subs on YouTube, as well as 200 listeners on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So, before we get into this, obviously you know how it works if you are new to the channel. Our pregame show basically is a run-through of all of our content from the week, and then we make our picks at the end. So let's start with the Atlanta Falcons, obviously, the team the Bears are facing this week. They are officially listing wide receiver Julio Jones with a hamstring as questionable for Sunday versus the Bears. He did not practice all week. Also questionable for the Falcons, Dante Fowler, Caleb McGarry, and Tack McKinley. Obviously, you don't wish injuries on anyone, but if they were missing a couple of these pieces, it would definitely be important for the Bears. Also, I'm forgetting the name of the cornerback, but the Falcons have already listed a cornerback out as well as a safety, a starting safety who is very important to the Falcons team in Ricardo Allen. So, we're here to give our thoughts on the Falcons before we kick off anything. Look, we've talked about it all week. This Falcons offense has been off to a blazing hot start. We saw Matt Ryan in week 1 throw 54 passes for 450 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also, Todd Gurley has been a nice addition on the ground, racking up 56 yards and a touchdown in week 1. Also, as far as the Atlanta receiving corps go, if Julio doesn't play this game, we still have to watch out for guys like Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley. 130 yards for Ridley in week 1 with 2 touchdowns, and Gage adding another 9 catches for 114 yards. Looking at week 2 for the Falcons, another good week. They scored 39 points. Obviously, they lost, gave that one away, but Matt Ryan still had a passer rating of 126.3 with 273 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Gurley added 61 yards on the ground. Another great game for Ridley, 109 yards and 2 touchdowns on 7 receptions. Hayden Hurst got in on the action with 72 receiving yards and a touchdown. Someone the Bears are definitely going to have to look out to cover. We've seen tight ends go off against the Bears in previous weeks with TJ Hawkinson and Evan Engram. And then in week 2, Gage also added another good week with 6 receptions for 46 yards and a touchdown. So the Bears are going to have their hands full with this Atlanta offense. Parth, before we talk about their defense, because obviously that's been a different story, what do you think about how this Atlanta offense has performed and all the offensive corps that they have?
It's exciting to see. I think that offense is very underrated. Matt Ryan's been disrespected as a quarterback. I think he's been a top 10 quarterback for multiple years, and he's proven it to the league that he's still got it. I mean, he's got an amazing passer rating so far to start off the season. He's throwing touchdowns like it's nothing. If the Falcons were winning games, he'd be in the MVP conversation if we think about it. I mean, he's playing just like Russell Wilson. So, but yeah, that offense is insane. They got guys like Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, and then Russell Gage, who's been playing amazing so far to start off the year. And then, you got a explosive running back in Todd Gurley, who's had his fair share of injuries, but he's still explosive anytime. He can take over anytime during the game. And they got a tight end in Hayden Hurst, who's phenomenal. Back in Baltimore, he didn't get as many chances as he would have liked with Mark Andrews already there. But here in Atlanta, with Austin Hooper gone, he's getting his targets, he's getting his chances, he's getting the red zone opportunities. And something the Bears haven't done so well this year is covering tight ends. We've seen Evan Ingram and TJ Hawkinson absolutely. I wouldn't say absolutely body, but Danny Trevathan's had some tough times
They
guarding
had their
them.
ways with the Bears' defense.
Exactly. Yeah. Danny Trevathan's had a tough time guarding them and the running backs as well. We saw DeAndre Swift basically drop the game-winning touchdown catch, and if that was Todd Gurley, at 10 out of 10 times he's catching that. So that's something the Bears definitely got to improve on. I think Danny Trevathan's the leader of the defense. He has been the leader of the defense since he's been here. I think he needs to prove his game or his spot's going away soon. And the cornerbacks are going to need to do a great job. They got their hands full with if Julio plays or not. I mean, they still got Russell Gage, and Calvin Ridley, who've been great to start off the year. So Jaylen Johnson and Kyle Fuller have a tough task ahead of them. Same with Eddie Jackson. He's got to help out the rookie corner. He's been great so far, but that doesn't mean that he's going to need some help in this game. Hopefully, one of the guys can get an interception off of Matt Ryan, because that'd be nice to see.
Yeah, Matt Ryan, definitely a quarterback who's been disrespected throughout his career, but we all remember when he was the most valuable player of the league in 2016, as well as the Offensive Player of the Year. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler, and he's had his way so far this season. I agree with you, Parth. This Atlanta offense is very dangerous. If the Bears can slow them down, it could definitely help them win this game. But even guys like Russell Gage at wide receiver 3 have been having a very hot start to the season, so whether or not Julio Jones plays, the Bears' cornerbacks are still going to need to stand up. It looks like the Falcons are going to be missing their right tackle. So yet again, Khalil Mack, who was limited all week, but he has been limited the entire year and has played in every game. Khalil Mack is listed as questionable. He's going to play, and he will be facing up against a backup right tackle. So an opportunity and a positional matchup that he's definitely going to have to take advantage of. Jaylen, before we move on to Atlanta's defense that's been very porous thus far, what do you think about their offensive weapons?
They have some great offensive weapons. Even if Julio is not playing, they still have Calvin Ridley, who I was a big fan of coming out of Alabama. Russell Gage, who's showed some flashes this season. I think he's like top 10 in receiving yards, and so is Calvin Ridley, who's at two touchdowns both weeks of the season. He leads the league in receiving touchdowns as well. Matt Ryan, who's an MVP. He's playing well this season. For a quarterback who's playing extremely well, and still losing games is that kind of shows how bad their defense is. I know we're going to talk about that, but I just want to acknowledge how Matt Ryan is having a great season. They still have Todd Gurley, who won Offensive Player of the Year not that long ago. People might say he's not the same due to the arthritis in his knee, but he's still a weapon. In the backfield and receiving out the backfield as well. They have Hayden Hurst, who came over from Baltimore. He was a first-round pick a couple years ago. He got some action. He caught a touchdown against the Dallas Cowboys. So he's a weapon as well. Their offense is extremely talented, and if our defense doesn't show up, this game could get out of hand very fast.
Yeah, taking a look at Atlanta's defense, it has not been great. They've averaged giving up 39 points per game, obviously 38 to the Seattle Seahawks and 40 to the Dallas Cowboys. They allowed Russell Wilson to throw for 4 touchdowns, also 322 yards. And then taking a look at week 2, Dak Prescott really had his way with them, especially in the second half. He ended up that game with 450 passing yards, almost 10 yards per pass completed, also a touchdown, and he had a couple on the ground as well. This Falcons defense has given up 10 touchdowns total, 5 on the ground, as well as 5 in the air. So, Parth, I'm going to pass it back to you. Do you think the Bears will be able to take advantage of this weak Falcons defense?
I hope so. I really do. I think this could be the Bears' offense coming out party. I think this is the week to do it if they want.
You kept saying week 2 of 2018, dude, or week 3.
Week 3, yep, 2018. The Bears beat the Bucs really badly. We saw Trubisky with 6 touchdowns that game, and he was spreading the ball around. It looked amazing, and I feel like this week is exactly a copy of that. I feel like Atlanta's got that offense that. Same with Tampa Bay, was super hyped up the first 2 weeks. Same situation. We tear them apart. Trubisky throws 6 touchdowns. Hopefully we can have him throw 7 this time, or even 8. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But yes, that defense isn't great. I think the Bears should at least be able to put up 25, 27 points. I think that's mandatory to win this game. The Falcons offense will put up 20 plus regardless of who they're facing. They got too much talent to not to. And if the Bears want to win, we got to score points. It's that simple. And I think this is the week we can do it, especially against the weak defense.
We all remember 2018, the game that Parth is talking about, week 3, 48-10. Trubisky threw for 354 yards and 6 touchdowns. And oh my goodness, it would be great if he could do it this week yet again. I mean, we talked about the players that the Falcons might be missing on Sunday, and I'm assuming they would miss a couple players. So we'll see about guys like Julio Jones, but on defense, their top 2 defenders, arguably, other than Deion Jones, are Dante Fowler and Takk McKinley, both the DNs. If the Bears are missing them, I expect this offensive line to have a great day, as well as the run game. You look in their secondary, rookie in A.J. Terrell has been performing well, one of the only defensive back rookies who has been performing well, other than C.J. Henderson, who had a rough go last night, as well as Jaylen Johnson. So A.J. Terrell's a solid one. Isaiah Oliver is a player the Bears are definitely going to have to attack early and often in this game. If Trubisky's throwing the ball, I expect to see him looking for guys like Cordero Patterson, like Anthony Miller, like Darnell Mooney early on. I think if the Bears can attack, once again, another weak secondary, they can put up some points in this game, but also you have to pound the rock because Atlanta's allowed 2 touchdowns and 3 touchdowns rushing on the ground in 2 games. So the ground game is going to be very important, especially when it comes to controlling the time of possession in this one. And that's something the Bears are going to want to do if they want to keep Matt Ryan off the field. Jaylen, do you have anything else to add about your thoughts on this Atlanta defense?
First off, not to be a know-it-all, but that Tampa Bay game was actually in week 4. Week 3 we played the Arizona Cardinals on that comeback.
You know what we're saying.
But no, you guys basically hit it. Their defense has struggled. Greatly in these first 2 weeks, gave up 4 touchdowns to both quarterbacks, and both quarterbacks were named MSC Player of the Week. So I feel like if this offense can come out clicking like it did in the first half against the Giants, then we should get off to a hard start and play consistently. But that's about it.
Absolutely. So let's head into our 3 key matchup segments of the pregame show. Obviously, we each give our what we think is the most important positional matchup in this game. So I'll go first. I'm going to go with Mitchell Trubisky versus this Atlanta secondary. We had a guest on earlier this week, Malik Brown, who said how important it was going to be for the Bears to attack this secondary if they want to win this game. Isaiah Oliver has been struggling a ton, and Anthony Miller's looking to have a bounce-back game in this one. Also, they only have Keanu Neal starting at safety. Ricardo Allen isn't the same player that he used to be, but you know what? He definitely is one of the players that backloads this Atlanta secondary, and he's going to be out as well. I would like to see the Bears, take some deep shots. If you can get Darnell Mooney out there, get Ted Ginn back in and incorporate it into the game plan. Obviously, he was a healthy scratch in week 2. I think the Bears looking for the long ball is going to benefit them in this game. Also, you've got Allen Robinson on a rookie, A.J. Terrell, who's performed well, but it's Allen Robinson, another player who's looking to have a bounce-back game in this one. I think the Bears need to attack Atlanta's secondary, and as important as I think it is that they still continue to run the ball, get David Montgomery, maybe even something like 20 carries, I do think it's important that you're going to have to be able to take advantage of Atlanta's weakness. And, we do see Takk McKinley as a player who's listed as questionable right now, as well as Dante Fowler. But until they're ruled out, I think you have to attack their weakness, which is the secondary. So I think the most important key matchup in this game is going to be Mitchell Trubisky, once again, taking advantage of a secondary, being confident, and delivering those throws. I'm going to pass it now to Parth. Parth, and if you can change it up, you can. If you think what I just said is important, you can also reiterate that. But what's another key matchup that you think is important that the Bears need to take advantage of if they want to start the season 3-0?
I'm going to go with Matt Ryan versus our defense and their wide receivers as well. We've seen Matt Ryan have an amazing year, amazing start to the season. Like I mentioned before, he's having an MVP type of season. No one's mentioning it because they're not winning games. So that's something to keep an eye out for. I think that our defense has done a pretty good job so far. I choked up my words there while drinking some water. But yeah, I think our defense has done a pretty good job so far this year. At times they've looked a little sluggish. I mean, last week against Daniel Jones, they gave up that 195-yard drive, which was very depressing to watch. But hopefully we don't do that again. I think this week we have to be at our A game. We gotta play all 4 quarters, especially the defense against this offense who's been impressive so far. They got guys like Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley, like I've said before. They've been tearing it apart this year. I didn't expect Russell Gage to come in and have a great start to the season. Neither would Calvin Ridley. I thought Julio Jones usually takes most of their targets. I had Ridley in fantasy last year, and he wasn't that
Ridley
good.
really wants to be a wide receiver one. You could tell if Julio ever left, he would want to be their wide receiver one for sure. And I think he does have the potential.
Oh yeah, easily. So yeah, we got to stop them. Jaylen Johnson, Kyle Fuller have had great starts to the season. I've been impressed with both of them. They're both playing like top 10 cornerbacks. It's been fun to watch. Eddie Jackson's also had a great year so far. He had a pick 6 taken away from him last week, which was a lot of people said it wasn't, but I think looking back at it, I think the defender should have the same chance to catch the ball as the wide receiver. So I would have counted that pick 6.
You're getting way off topic, my friend.
I'm just blabbering on about the Bears.
All right, stopping Matt Ryan. Okay, yeah, definitely important. Jaylen Johnson, you look at him, he's had 4 pass breakups. Deion Bush with an interception, Kyle Fuller with an interception. They're going to need to show out strong in yet another important game. If the Bears want to start 3-0, I think that's the ideal start that we all had in mind. I don't know how confident we all were that it was going to happen, but the opportunity is on the table now. This is going to be a tough task in this game, and the secondary is definitely going to have to step up. Definitely Jaylen Johnson's toughest task upcoming. Jaylen, anything else to add? What's your key matchup in this game?
First of all, you basically just told Parth he's talking too much. But
I have laundry coming out in 11 minutes, and I don't need my clothes.
Nobody wants to steal your clothes, Christopher. But my matchup is our front seven basically against the Atlanta Falcons offensive line. Now their starting right tackle, or one of their starting tackles, Caleb McGarry, he injured his knee against the Cowboys, and he's listed as questionable. But I don't think he's playing. It was a sprained MCL, so I'm pretty sure he's not playing this week. So Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn will be going up against a backup tackle. And if we can get pressure on Matt Ryan, and like I said, he's a veteran quarterback. I'm pretty sure pressure doesn't really get to him. But if we can cause a forced fumble and him get a strip sack like Robert Quinn did last week against Daniel Jones, and put our offense in a good position to score points, with a shorter field, this can help us, like huge, because their defense is, our offense isn't that good, but their defense isn't stopping anybody. I don't care if they were going up against the Jags. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't stop them. So if we can get turnovers or just put pressure and get sacks on Matt Ryan and put our offense in a good position to score, that's going to help us, hugely.
100%. I got to agree with you. We did see the Bears put a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones last week. No matter what you want to say, I got to give credit to Zebra Technologies for this one. But the Bears did put a ton of pressure on Daniel Jones and the New York Giants in week 2. Khalil Mack had 7 pressures, Akeem Hicks 5 pressures, and Robert Quinn with 4 pressures, 2 of which forced New York Giant turnovers. Obviously, the strip sack, he also had a pressure on the play that Jones threw an interception on. Heading on to our Fan Mail Friday segment of the pregame show, we've got a question from Michael on Michael.Mueller9. He asks, hey guys, how do you think Jaylen Johnson will perform against this receiving corps? Look, Parth brought it up a ton. He's going to have a tough task whether or not Julio Jones is playing in this one. So you know what? I think he's up for the task. I don't know if he's going to do anything incredible. We saw Devontae Adams tear up Jeff Okudah last week, and that worries me a little bit for Johnson because I know Okudah is a very good prospect. But Jaylen Johnson has performed very well thus far. I think he has another good week ahead of him. Sure, he might allow some completions, but I think he'll be able to get the job done to a very good level. And I think he'll surprise some of us. He's still waiting on that first career interception. He could have had it week 1. Week 2, he also did a very good job against guys like Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard when he was in the game. So while I am a little bit more worried about this Falcons receiving corps because they've been very, very hot recently, I do think Jaylen Johnson is up for the task and will be able to perform well this week. So, Parth, what do you think Jaylen Johnson will be able to do in week 3?
I think he's fine. I think he'll do great. I have a lot of faith in Jaylen Johnson, and if you don't, it's just unnecessary. I think he's been amazing the first 2 games, and there's no better option out there for the Bears other than Jaylen Johnson. He's been impressive all year. I didn't expect him to come out and be this great. He's had his shoulder injuries. He basically had no rookie camp, basically a shortened training camp. So it's crazy to see him already being able to play this highly against NFL competition.
Yeah, Jalen, anything to add there? How do you think the other most important Jalen on the show is going to do this weekend?
I think he's going to do good. Obviously, I think Calvin Ridley is probably going to give us some problems. Calvin Ridley is a very good route runner, and he's very fast and quick with his cuts. So, rather he's on him or Russell Gage, I'm pretty sure he's going to give it his all and try not to allow any big catches or catches at all.
Yeah, 100%. I believe in Jaylen Johnson. It is going to be a tough task, but we'll see what he's able to get done this weekend. As there is loud yelling in the background in my fraternity house, but that's something you got to deal with sometimes. So you know what? It is finally time to make our predictions for this game. A tough Week 3 task, an NFC rival that cannot be overlooked. I've said it so much this entire week. You can't overlook this Atlanta Falcons team. They're a couple good defensive plays away from being 2-0 right now, just as the Bears are a couple offensive or defensive plays away from being 0-2 right now. So, it's a game of inches, so I'm getting a little bit off track. But, Parth, I want to start with you. Once again, obviously, we were all right last week that the Bears were going to beat the Giants. I'm not sure who was closest in the score predictions. Jalen, maybe you can go look for that one. But we all are 2-0. Parth, I'm going to pass it to you. What's your pick in this one?
I'm going to go with 34-24. Chicago wins. I think the Bears offense is going to come out firing. I wanted to give us that blowout win because I've been predicting a blowout all week, but I don't think I can. But I think the Atlanta offense is going to come out and play. I think they're only going to be able to put up 24 on us. I think our defense hasn't played great offenses so far to start the year, but I think the defense has shown us that they can hang between the best. Our defense has been great for multiple years, and I think they'll be able to stop this offense. And I think our offense will be able to tear about that weak defense that they got there. I think Mitch Trubisky has a big year and then plays like another MVP quarterback. I think he's been playing great all year, and he's going to keep it up.
Yeah, you know what? I think this is going to be a very close game, but I'm going to go with the Bears in it as well. I'm going to go 31-28. Atlanta's offense has been on fire, but we've seen their defense allow points to be scored at a very high rate. Obviously, they have the worst ranked defense in the league throughout 2 weeks. I do think the Bears are able to put up a consistent game offensively in this one. But yet again, this Atlanta offense has been on fire, and the Bears' defense is going to have to do a lot, force a lot of turnovers, get a lot of pressure on Matt Ryan if they want it to be a blowout win like you mentioned, Parth. So I'm going to go 31-28 Bears. I think I'm pretty confident giving us more than 30 points, but you look at that Atlanta defense, they could be missing 2 very important defensive ends. They are also missing a very important safety, also I believe a nickel corner, and they could be missing their wide receiver 1 in Julio Jones, who is questionable, but he hasn't practiced all week, so we'll see about that. He's going to be hobbled, I would assume, if he plays in this one. So I'm going to go 31-28 Bears. I think they barely squeak it out and head back home week 4 to play the Indianapolis Colts, which is a game that definitely hits my heart very hard because while I am a Bears fan, I've got family in Indiana. I go to college in Indiana, obviously. A way bigger Bears fan, but I'm going to have my college friends in my ears about that one, as well as my extended family. So another big game coming up next week, and I'm getting way too far ahead of myself, but I've got the Bears moving into that game with Indianapolis 3-0, and we'll see if they can pull it out. I think the offense will be able to do it. Jalen, what is your score prediction for this Week 3 matchup with the Atlanta Falcons?
So for last week, the person who got the closest was, I think it was me. I think I predicted 21 to 10 or something like that. Parth predicted 27 points. I wish we had 27, but I think it was me.
And I think I predicted 31 points.
We should have had.
I was just going to say you were way off, but I think I was the closest with 21 to 10 or something like that. I'll have to check again and confirm that. But my prediction for this week, like I said, the Atlanta Falcons have a very high scoring offense. I don't think they're going to put up 39 points like they did, the last 2 weeks because this is the best defense they played. This is the best pass rush they've played so far. So I still think they're going to score from 20 to, I wouldn't be surprised if they put up 27. But I'm gonna give the Bears a win right here, of course. And I'm gonna say 27-20, the Bears. And Mitchell is going to get to that bread.
Oh man! Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into our pregame show. Once again, I say it at the end of every pregame show, the time to talk is over. Our content for the week is out, and that's pretty much about it for us, guys. I would like to say one more message before I obviously go into our whole outro spiel. I'm going to the Colts-Jets game on Sunday. So that should be very interesting going to an NFL game during the pandemic. But our post-game show is going to come out probably pretty late at night. The Colts kickoff is at 4:25. I live about an hour away from Indianapolis, and so I'm either going to have Parth and Jaylen do that on their own, but if you want all three of us here, which I assume most of you do us a favor, leave in the comments if you're okay with it coming out later at night. If it is a loss, that also will probably give us some time to gain our composures back and have an even-keeled post-game show. But if you guys want more content from us, do us a favor, head over to our website, beardown.com. We're putting up our pregame predictions on there as well as a ton of extra content, so be sure to go check that out if you want more content from us. If you would like to find the podcast on Instagram and Twitter, you can find it on both platforms at Bear Down. And finally, you can find the links to all of our social media fan pages on Instagram down in the description. Jalen McClinton, Parth Shaw, the time to talk is over. I feel like I keep saying that, but 3-0 would be quite the start. Any last words?
Yeah, that would be quite the start. No one predicted us to go 3-0. I feel like a lot of people have written us off this year. It would be awesome to prove the doubters wrong. It's just crazy to see all the negativity around the Bears. It's time to get more positive. I feel like myself, sometimes I get negative during the games. I know these guys know, but it's time to stay positive. I think this team has a lot of potential, and I think us fans need to back them up more than anything because we're getting a lot of national media hate. So if the fans are going to do the hating too, there's no one backing up our Bears. So I'm going to start backing them up, and hopefully we can win some games, and they prove me right.
It's tough to get more negative in games than me, and I think you do. But Jaylen, any last words?
At first, so like when I know this is like kind of off topic, when Christopher told me he was going to the Colts and Jets game, I was like, "Why are you going to that? It's probably going to be a blowout." But he gets to scout our Week 4 opponent.
Yeah,
firsthand.
It's definitely the light at the end of the tunnel. I guess like none of the teams matter to me, but I'll be able to get a ton of content on the Colts for sure.
Yeah, so other than that, I hope the mics and quality are well for our watchers and stuff like that. Let's go into Mercedes-Benz Stadium or Dome. I don't know.
Stadium to the Superdome, man.
I don't know what I think about that, but let's go beat the Falcons and bear down. Let's go 3-0.
Let's go 3-0. That is about it. It's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Malpe. Thank you guys for all the support recently. This upgraded audio and everything wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for you guys. We love making content for you guys, and we're going to keep pumping it out next week against the Indianapolis Colts. Be sure to look out for our post-game show coming out tomorrow night. It should be fairly late, but we'll be sure to get it up for you guys. And as always, Bears fans, stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the post-game show. Peace.